Hi everyone. Welcome to today's live Q&A. Hope you guys are doing pretty okay. I'm really happy to be here, really happy to be able to support you. If this is your first time, welcome to the ROCD Academy. And if this is not your first time for the ROCD Academy Live, I did want to make an announcement that we have made a couple of really important guideline changes in the live Q&A. So please be sure to look at the important announcement that Crystal posted. It will say important announcement live Q&A, and you can kind of find the guidelines for that. We have really wanted to make sure that this Relationship OCD, Relationship Anxiety Academy is helping you in the best way with reassurance and compulsion seeking, which can be something that we need to constantly monitor. So that's why we've changed the guidelines. So a couple of different things before you guys go and ask your question is one, we're going to put a big emphasis on focusing on the course material. The community is attached to the course for a reason because we want you guys to use the course material in your questions, in your journey with ROCD, and bring them here so I can help you a little bit deeper with any type of questions that you may be having. So make sure that you are focusing on the course material. If you haven't already, we won't be able to answer any of your questions if you're not bringing in the course material to the Q&A. And Crystal is beautifully bringing these questions. Thank you, love. On the side of the chat. So if you guys have any questions with that, you can read that. So the first thing is to answer the question, what is your fear in question that you are bringing into today's Q&A? So make sure that you condense it in 3 sentences, so no more. I'm going to do a little bit of a lecture on ROCD. So this will actually be really important for you along your journey. A lot of times people with ROCD and obsessive compulsive behavior and even anxiety have this idea that in order for them to really get help, in order for them to really find freedom from ROCD, that they need to have and express a very long story. And I say long story, not in a way to bring a negative connotation to it, but more so it's this distortion that people with ROCD believe that they need to get a lot off their chest. Like they need to express little teeny parts so it's not forgotten. When in reality, the story actually doesn't necessarily matter. We're really working on the cognitive parts behind it and the behavior that is used to keep the compulsions going. So again, a long story actually doesn't really matter. So that's why we're trying to condense it to be able to help you clarify really what it is that you're working with. What is the trigger? What is the thought that's coming up and really the behavior that's following along with this. So make sure that you ask your question, but only in a matter of 3 sentences. And this is an example. I notice myself ruminating when I'm triggered by my partner's appearance. I can't stop comparing my partner to others and looking at Google. How do I work with this? The second part, which is the part where we're going to push you to do work, is what course material are you using? So how are you working with this specific trigger that's coming up, this specific compulsion? So if you guys have any questions with that, please let me know. But those are the only guidelines that we ask from you in order for us to be able to help you. So I did get some questions already that were posted. So I'm going to go ahead and answer these. I'm going to keep the names anonymous just so there's a confidentiality piece with them, but you can also find them on the live Q&A guidelines post. So this one person is saying, after a lot of anxiety and panic attacks, I'm in the numb, depersonalized state, maybe the backdoor spike. The absence of anxiety doesn't trigger much anxiety, but the numbness toward my boyfriend, cat's mother, the world makes me sad and depressed. It also triggers some Googling, how to lean and work with the numbness or accept it and trust that it will eventually come back. This is a great question. A lot of us can probably relate to the fact that there are difficult emotions and difficult feelings and sensations that happen with ROCD and relationship anxiety. And many times we want to justify why an emotion is happening or why a specific thought is coming up or why we're experiencing a different sensation that feels very uncomfortable. And just like any other emotion that's coming in and sensation that's coming in, numbness is something that can definitely come up when the body is saying, whoa, this is a lot. I need to take a step back for a little bit. I need to just kind of detach for a moment because these emotions of anxiety, the cortisol, the fight or flight, everything, the adrenaline is causing my body to go into a bit of a burnout. So the big part of this work, you guys, and something that is going to be a theme throughout anything that you go through with ROCD and anxiety is the ability to trust. The ability to trust our experiences is not something that is bad or even good, but more so something that is happening that we learn to work with, that we say, oh, okay, there's numbness here now. I can trust that this is coming up. I don't need to make a reasoning behind it and make it something catastrophic or make it something meaningful about my partner, but more so an energy that's arising that is asking me to learn to be okay with it. So this is the same thing with the numbness, trusting that even if the numbness is there, we will be safe, we will be okay. Sometimes the emotions and different sensations can trigger different memories or past experiences that can feel quite intense. So if you're not working with someone, it can be really beautiful and really empowering to be working with a professional to be able to support you through emotions that can feel too much, that can feel very overwhelming. But a big, big, big part of this journey is really how can you trust in what is here and that you will be okay, in your tools, in physical support, whether that may be from a professional or from a therapist or from a coach. This person is saying, I'm noticing some distortion coming up, like emotional reasoning. I love your answer. If you don't feel anything right now, it means you don't love him. My body, I try to be compassionate with myself and remind me that this is ROCD, this is my body, which is tired. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And a big part of this journey that you guys will most likely learn is starting to slowly say, oh, this emotion is here. Okay, this is interesting. I'm not really sure the exact reasoning behind it, but maybe I can just be with this right now, trusting that it'll pass, trusting that it's here for my body's wisdom right now. This is a beautiful answer, and I really love the way that you are able to connect with your question and also your answer at the same time. It's really about trusting this. How can you trust your answer? Okay, this next person is saying, sometimes I've noticed using techniques like awake and distortions compulsive, like wording this is ROCD, to take away the uncomfortable thoughts is real, which means temporary relief. This has made it hard to tell when I'm using techniques compulsively or not. Does feeling calmer after a technique automatically mean it did a compulsion, or is it possible to feel relief from the technique without being compulsive? Oh, this is such a great question too. The answer is using ERP modules and masterclasses help me spot mental compulsions. I know if you feel the urge to do a technique to feel better, it's compulsive, but I also believe it's possible to feel calmer throughout the techniques when reminding yourself, like wisdom and CDs, that RSD is separate from you. This is so beautiful. And something that we can move into with a step of trusting is to just notice, oh, I'm an obsessive behavior right now. I think a lot of people use RCD almost as like this, like, bypass to say, oh, RCD is here. That means that I'm in the right relationship, right? But we are more so using the RCD label to recognize that this is a pattern we've been in before. When we say, oh, I'm noticing this is RCD, or we can say, I'm noticing that I am caught in obsessive, intrusive behavior, or I'm noticing it as anxiety coming up. It's more so our ability to detach from the behavior that is arising for us to be able to have more empowerment and more control over what's happening. So a lot of people kind of might use it compulsively in a way. It's like, oh, this is ROCD. Okay, I'm in the right partnership. But it's more so a way to start to recognize our patterns and behaviors. Oh, I'm caught in obsessive thinking. There's an intrusive thought here. And that also, in a lot of ways, means that I am in some sort of a distortion, that I'm not thinking clearly, right? That's a really, really big piece. Something that can be helpful if you want to take it a step further in terms of bringing more trust into your nervous system after you've kind of used the technique of this is ROCD is to say, maybe this is ROCD, maybe it's not ROCD, right? So in that way, we take the ERP a little bit further. It's just like maybe, maybe not. But no matter what, I will be okay. No matter what, I'm trusting. No matter what, I am safe. No matter what, I can be with this moment. So that can be almost like a helpful ACT technique as well. But I love your answer to it. And you guys, it's really about trusting your answers because the answers that you guys are giving to yourself is incredible wisdom. Okay, next person says, I've been feeling numb these days because of the breakup of a couple friends. I keep asking instead, am I forcing myself to not do it? He said he doesn't feel the same anymore. His priority has changed. He has a new passion that she respects but doesn't share. Maybe they fell in love too young. Differences in age are my worst triggers. How do I work with discomfort? This person says I use the triggers and compulsion worksheet and try not to do compulsions, already minor mental. I use a lot of compassion. Oh, I love that so much. It's beautiful. I'm so glad that you use the triggers and compulsions technique. Comparison is one of the biggest compulsions that we can get into, right? Whenever we're going into comparison, we're leaving our body and we're leaving our ability to just trust our own relationship and our experience. We never really fully understand why someone has broken up with someone else or why they have separated. That's their own path, right? So when we're comparing, we can note that. We can recognize, oh, there's that comparison piece coming up. I'm going to come back into my body and trust in my relationship here. Trust that I am safe here. Trust that I am making this choice here for myself. I don't know what's going on within their relationship. That's the truth. Like that's in a relational piece. So when I'm talking about relationships versus ROCD work, when we're talking about the relational aspect, we never really do know what people are deeply going through in their relationship, right? That's a truth. That's a matter of fact of this universe, of this life. And so when we have that understanding, it forces us also to come back into trusting ourselves. When we're going into comparison, when we're going into comparison in like an urgent, obsessive way, I will say that because we can go into comparison in a very grounded, curious perspective, right? I'm going to give you guys two examples. So this is someone who goes into comparison who has ROCD. Oh my God, they broke up. Oh my God, what does that mean about my partnership? Does that mean that I have to leave my partnership? Oh my God, they're young just like me. Maybe I'm not seeing something that I need to see, and maybe I need to leave my partner, but I don't really want to leave my partner. But what if something is telling me that this is a sign that I need to leave my partner because they're also young as well? So notice the obsessive thinking, the urgency, the rumination, right? That is someone with ROCD. When we go to someone who doesn't have ROCD and when we bring a curious, regulated lens, comparison looks more like, oh, that's really interesting that they broke up. That's pretty sad because I'm also young and they're also young. I wonder why people break up. I wonder if they weren't happy in some way or they decided to leave because something arose that was triggering for themselves. That's really interesting. Couples do break up, and I'm not really sure why they do, but maybe I'll figure that out later. So we can understand and see the difference between someone who is in RCD and using comparison as a compulsion, an urgency, almost the sense of, oh my God, I need to figure this out because whatever's happening out there is going to determine what I'm going to do with my partnership, right? I'm giving my power away through comparison. There's an urgency, there's a fear, there's a sense of disempowerment. And then when I'm moving into this place of curiosity, of regulation, there's no answer that's needed actually. And aside from that, and I'm sorry, to add on to that, there's also this place of curiosity, of openness, of also the ability to say, you know what? I notice that I'm comparing. Cool. Maybe I'll go a little bit more into it, or maybe I'll just think about this next week, or even talk to my partner about it. Like there's an openness, there's a curiosity, but there's not this state of urgency and obsessiveness that goes into a place of black or white thinking and catastrophe, which we talk about in cognitive distortion piece in the course. And we can start to recognize that we're caught in obsessive thinking, right? There's a black or white, oh my God, this must mean something. We get disempowered. We get our power taken away when we believe that comparison is helping us in some way, right? Find an answer, find an urgency. So I hope that's helpful for you guys, for people who are really going into the comparison piece. And comparison can be really painful. It places a big emphasis on believing that something else outside of you, a person, a couple, is in charge of your destiny. And it's painful, you guys. It takes away our ability to trust ourselves. Hopefully that was helpful. This person says there's a colleague of mine that is a trigger. I find him a nice guy, but I feel like I'm cheating on my partner if I'm happy to work with him. And I obsess about the fact I love my partner. Feeling happy or attracted to him is a trigger, and I feel guilty if I ask for help for this colleague. How can I do exposure? B, I recognize a cognitive distortion, black or white. Find him nice. It does not mean I love my partner or not. I'm working on triggers and compulsions. Beautiful. Great job with this one, love. Um, I also know that this person is part of home. So if you want to bring this to awaken into love home, I'm happy to work on this one with you too, love. Um, I think that a big piece that I'm also seeing that sometimes people overlook is emotional reasoning. And emotional reasoning is basically believing that whatever feeling we have gives us a reason for something. So, for example, if I'm feeling attracted to him, then that must mean that I'm a bad person. Or if I'm feeling happy, then that must mean I don't love my partner, versus recognizing that emotions and feelings can come and go. And the biggest thing that people with ROCD do is place so much importance and emphasis on emotion, almost as though they are the emotion. So what happens is people with ROCD tend to have an emotion and they allow the emotion to control them. So if they are feeling attracted to a person that's not their partner, if they're feeling all of a sudden happy and feeling good around a person that's not their partner, then they will allow that emotion to drive them into these beliefs and these distortions and these thoughts. Whereas someone who doesn't have ROCD, or someone who's able to distance themselves from their emotion, will go, oh, I'm recognizing I'm feeling good with this person. That is separate from who I am. I feel good. I also notice that feelings come and go. But the big exposure piece to this is allowing ourselves to even feel attracted or happy, noticing the obsessions and the kind of shame and guilt, because the shame and guilt is a big piece when we're working with appearance and attraction. Being able to notice the shame and guilt coming in, saying, oh, you're such a bad person. You're doing something bad if you have these feelings. And being able to distance ourselves and saying, I'm noticing these critical thoughts that I'm having. I'm noticing these shameful thoughts, and they don't have to dictate who I am. I'm going to lean in, breathe, even though these feelings of attraction are here, and maybe work with the distortions that may be there. That might be saying that you're a bad person or that you're cheating, because those lies are completely false. But I love this love. This is a great one. And if you want to do a little bit deeper work into this, we can work on it at home with the other community members as well. So this person says, I know I love my partner and I feel loved and connected, but not all the time. My main fear is that not feeling in love 24/7 means something is wrong. I struggle with compulsions because my brain is telling me that staying with someone you don't love is a waste of time. B, I have used a course in journaling and realized these fears are based on unawakened narratives about love, using radical compassion and wisdom to lean into the fear and teach my brain that is OCD causing anxiety. So I love your answer to this. The unawakened module is an important one when we're really understanding love, when we're really understanding how love works, how relationship works. And if you guys need a refresher to it, go back to the awakened module, because the awakened module is something that is going to take time to really, really understand for some people as we really work on rewiring habits of the past and beliefs of the past that no longer serve us, as we move into a more awakened state of love, a more mature state of love, a more adult state of love. We're not in a teenage state of love anymore with this belief, I would say child teenage state of love, with this belief that comes up that says, I need to feel love and connected all the time. So when people are wanting to feel love and connected all the time, they are basically equating love and connection as a form of safety within their partnership. So they have trained their brain to say, if I feel love, if I feel connected, that means my partnership is safe. That means I'm in the right partnership. Now, this is something that's pretty dangerous. And when I say dangerous, it doesn't mean that something bad is going to happen. But when I say dangerous, it means that we're falling into a trap, because the feeling of love and connection is going to come and go, come and go, come and go. And if we're basing our relationship in love and connection, we're going to think that we need to break up with our partner on a daily basis, because we're not going to be feeling these in love feelings all the time. Specifically with ROCD takes away the feelings of love and connection on a daily basis. And then someone gets very attached to the feelings of love and connection. They get excited. It's like, oh, I'm gonna reinforce to my brain that I'm in the right partnership, but only if I feel love and connection. Big part of this is, how can we move to a place of the childlike teenage belief that love is connection and feeling good all the time, to this exposure piece when we're working with ROCD, which is, oh, those feelings aren't there and I'm still okay. Oh, the feelings still aren't there and I'm still okay. I'm going to take the loving action steps, because love is also an action. It's a choice. And I'm going to lean into that even though the love and the feelings aren't there. So these were great questions. Thank you for the people who have added the questions. We have a couple more minutes, so I am going to invite you guys who are watching right now. If you guys have any questions here, just please use the format that Crystal shared here, and please condense your questions. And I'm going to just wait a little bit. I'll put on some music in the background. We're at Awaken into Love Home. We always have some music playing. And for people who are interested in Awaken into Love Home, my God, it's an incredible, incredible place to be aside from this community. It is such a great way to deepen your relationship OCD healing journey with a group of people who are just like you, who understand I am there, Manon is there to be leading, and you can bring your questions, feel seen, be heard, get buddies, get really good accountability, get support. Um, if you ever feel alone in your journey of ROCD, this is literally your place to go. So Awaken into Love Home is an incredible piece. And yes, you get your first session for free if you just want to try it out, which I think is amazing. Okay, so this person is asking, I find my boyfriend attractive, and when we met, we would always have really good sex. When I went into ROCD 3 months ago, I could not have sex anymore. My triggers started during sex that I couldn't enjoy it. Since then, I've been avoiding it and never feeling a need for this connection, which makes me obsessed. I was probably not attracted to him anymore. B, I use ERP in a week to understand my brain associated with intimacy, anxiety as a threat. And since then, I kind of locked me on the desire. Nevertheless, none of this is making me okay. I have so much compassion for you, my love, because I really understand how difficult this one is, right? Because sex is such an intimate piece within our relationship. And a lot of times sex is also tied to our partner's value. So for some of our partners, they might value sex in a very high regard, and maybe you might too, or maybe you might not. But you probably have noticed that ROCD has in some way, maybe, I'm not saying this for everyone, but changed the way that you view sex. Something that I might ask you for this person who is asking is if you have spoken to your partner about this in terms of the vulnerability, because vulnerability and bringing that into sex and intimacy can actually create more intimacy. To even say, hey, I'm noticing myself putting a lot of pressure on myself when we have sex. I'm noticing myself feeling avoidant and scared, even though I want to have sex with you. I'm noticing myself wanting to shut down because of the pressure that I'm putting on myself to be perfect. That's really what it is, you guys. It's this perfectionism we put on ourselves that we need to feel a certain way, we need to be a certain way during sex. And what happens is it really shuts off our libido. It really shuts off our desire to have sex. And a lot of times we move into avoidance, or we might compulsively have sex to try to feel that connection and then feel that relief. So couples work to this. Something that you can do is really bring in that vulnerability. And I'm curious how that feels to bring in that vulnerability. You don't have to necessarily say it's ROCD, but saying, hey, I'm noticing myself putting a lot of pressure on myself, being really hard on myself to feel perfect. I'm not looking for a fix or an answer, but I wanted to know if you could just hold me in this fear that I'm feeling. And I'm just curious how that feels for you, love. I love the ERP and the wake perspective, the kindness, but sometimes bringing in our partnership and doing relationship work with this can also hold this space of safety when we're feeling that anxiety. How do I recognize the difference from compulsively nitpicking my partner and being mean when he's doing something wrong versus bringing up a real problem that's important for me to bring up? If I feel that urgency to control, I know it's compulsive. I can be in the comfortable feeling and wait a few days. Beautiful. You answered your own question. It's basically trusting that. It's trusting that, right? Beautiful, beautiful answer to yourself. That's exactly what I would have said. My biggest struggle lately is with intrusive images. When I don't feel in love with my partner, I'll get intrusive images of being with someone made up of fantasy. It's very upsetting. How can I work with these intrusive images? I've tried to use radical compassion, allowing the thoughts and images so difficult though, and I want the images to go away. So I hear this. I hear it. It's so hard. Intrusive images, intrusive thoughts, intrusive sensations can feel so upsetting. When we understand intrusive thoughts and intrusive images, in my perspective, it's really the brain's way to like be in like hyper control. Like it's almost like I'm going to show you these images so you make sure that you're 100% safe because this is what we don't want. So when we don't take intrusive thoughts and intrusive images so personally, that's really the brain's way to kind of distract us and to kind of protect ourselves, then we can work with it. It has absolutely no attachment to who you are, to you and to your inherent growth, to your inherent worth, to your inherent love for your partner. It's really this biggest form of protection that our brain does to try to steer us away from the present moment. So the more and more you give it more innocence, the more and more you recognize it as just like an image. Like think about it in this way. If you're with your partner, and you guys are sitting together, and all of a sudden there's like a big screen in the background, and it shows this image that's really upsetting. There's more of an ability for us to kind of detach, right? Because it's not in our brains, it's kind of on a screen. But I want you to see if you can practice it in the same way. If there's a movie playing in background and there's like an upsetting image, but you're hanging out with your partner, you might not really be distracted by it. You might not, you probably won't take it personally. It's very much a similar situation. So seeing if you can kind of detach from that and seeing it in its innocence, knowing that intrusive thoughts and images are just so part of being human, and especially with ROCD that can bring about some innocence to it too. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. You guys are doing amazing. Please give yourself credit at Awaken into Love Home. We literally start our sessions with how we have improved that week because recognizing our improvement and recognizing our growth is such a key factor in being able to get better. So please recognize your growth. These answers to your own questions were pretty amazing for me to read. I am just blown away by your own insight. The biggest part of this work is now that you know, how can you trust it? How can you now do the hard work, the deep work, right? So that's the biggest piece. All right, you guys, I'm sending you guys so much love. If you are wanting some additional support, professional support, we have amazing Awaken into Love coaches. We have Jillian, Kat, and Erin who are always there to support you, and you can find them at awakenintolove.com. All right, you guys, sending you guys so much love. Keep up the good work, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone.